The intake paperwork had unsocialized stamped in red ink. The shelter manager told me, "Your job is just to get them used to human touch so they're adoptable. Don't get attached." Hazel and Honey were seized from a hoarding situation in Ohio. 30 dogs in a basement never saw the sun. When I picked them up, these two red-nosed sisters were terrified of their own shadows. They froze if a door slammed. They army crawled across the floor because they were too scared to stand up. The shelter environment was killing them. They were shutting down, refusing to eat. In the rescue world, dogs that don't engage don't get adopted. They get put down. I brought them home to rehab them, just a temporary stop. For weeks, I sat on my kitchen floor reading books out loud so they'd get used to my voice. I hand-fed them kibble one piece at a time. Slowly, the fear in their amber eyes started to fade. Then came the day a potential adopter called. A nice couple, perfect home. I put Hazel on a leash to meet them. She panicked. She scrambled behind my legs and let out a low, terrified woo-woo sound, pressing her body so hard against my shins I almost tripped. Honey ran over and licked the tears off my face. It hit me like a ton of bricks. They didn't just need a human. They needed me. I was their safe place. I called the shelter 5 minutes later. Take their profiles down. They're already home. They still get scared of loud noises sometimes, but now, instead of hiding in a corner, they hide behind me. And that's exactly where they belong. I taught them how to trust, and they taught me that love is worth the work. From the basement to the bedroom. Welcome home, girls. The card on their cage was bright red. It had today's date and 2 words circled in Sharpie. Last call. I was just there to drop off old towels. I wasn't looking for a dog. Definitely not 2. I walked past Kennel 40. It was way in the back, the dark corner where the AC doesn't reach. Inside were Tank and Dozer, 2 massive, block-headed blue-nose pits. They looked scary to everyone else, I guess. Cropped ears, not their fault, scars on their noses. But they weren't barking. They were sitting back to back, leaning against each other like 2 tired soldiers. I saw the shelter director walking down the aisle with the clipboard. The list. "These 2?" she asked the volunteer. "Yeah," the volunteer said, wiping her eyes. "Bonded pair, intimidating breed, no applications. It's time." It was 4:45 p.m. The vet was already setting up in the medical room. I looked at Tank. He pressed his big block head against the chain-link fence and let out a tiny, high-pitched whine. It sounded like a balloon deflating. It broke me. "I'll foster them," I yelled. It came out louder than I meant. The director stopped. She looked at her watch. She looked at the clipboard. She looked at me. "You have 10 minutes to get them in your car, or I have to follow protocol." I have never run so fast in my life. We threw them in the back seat of my Honda Civic. These scary dogs. Tank licked the sweat off my face the whole drive home. Dozer fell asleep with his head on my center console. They weren't intimidating. They were terrified babies who just needed a couch. They say you can't save them all, but for these 2, all was the only option. Freedom Ride, Detroit, Michigan. "I am not keeping him. 2 weeks max. Do not let me sign those papers." That's what Sarah told us when she picked up Tank, a terrified brindle pity mix who was on the euthanasia list in Chicago. She was just supposed to be a crash pad, a temporary stop to save his life until a permanent family came along. Rule number 1, no dogs on the furniture. Rule number 2, no dogs in the bed. Rule number 3, don't fall in love. Well, let's check in on how that's going. Day 3. Tank discovered that Sarah's lap is actually a chair. He placed his massive block head on her knee, looked up with those amber seal eyes, and sighed. Rule number 1, broken. Day 10, Sarah had a bad day at work. She came home crying. Tank didn't jump or play. He simply pressed his heavy body against her leg, leaned all his weight into her, and licked the tears off her cheek. He stayed there for an hour until she stopped shaking. Day 14, the day he was supposed to leave. Sarah looked at his packed bag. Then she looked at Tank, who was currently upside down on her bed, rule number 2, definitely broken, snoring like a chainsaw. She realized that the empty spot in her house wasn't just on the couch, it was in her heart, and this big, clumsy, stripy tiger dog had filled it perfectly. Yesterday, Sarah officially failed. Foster failing isn't really failing, it's the best kind of victory. Tank is no longer a guest, he's home. Welcome to the rest of your life, Tank. You played the long game, buddy, and you won. Raise your hand if you're a foster failure. We want to see your failures in the comments. The shelter staff called it the scream. It wasn't a bark, it wasn't a howl, it was a pure panic attack that echoed through the concrete halls of the Dallas Animal Control Facility every single time they tried to take Barnaby out of his kennel without Betsy. Barnaby, the big blue nose, and Betsy, the smaller fawn Staffy, were found wandering a rural road together, huddled in a ditch during a thunderstorm. We don't know their history, but one thing is clear. They are each other's entire world. When we pulled them to safety, we thought, surely they can be walked separately. Nope. If Betsy turns a corner and leaves Barnaby's sight for even 3 seconds, this 80-pound tough guy collapses. He shakes, he cries, he claws at the door. But the second she waddles back into the room, he instantly calms down, licks her face, and lets out a heavy sigh of relief. They eat from the same bowl, even though we give them 2. They sleep in a tangled pibble pile, where you can't tell whose paws are whose. They are the definition of a package deal. Adopting a bonded pair is a big ask. You're asking for double the food, double the vet bills, and double the poop scooping. But let me tell you what you get in return. Double the love. You get to witness a love story every single day in your living room. You get 2 velvet hippos who keep each other entertained, comforted, and tired out. You don't just save 2 lives, you save a marriage. Barnaby and Betsy are currently in boarding, waiting for that special hero who understands that family doesn't get left behind. Who has room on their couch for 2 potato-shaped snugglebugs? The vet whispered, I don't know if she has enough fight left in her. When Animal Control found Willow chained to the back of an abandoned porch in rural Alabama, she didn't even look like a dog anymore. She was a skeleton wrapped in leathery, infected skin. At just 35 pounds, this American Bulldog mix should have been nearly double that weight. She had no fur, no water, and absolutely no hope. She was so weak she couldn't stand up to get into the transport van. They had to carry her. For the first 2 weeks in her foster home, Willow just slept. She wouldn't make eye contact. She flinched if you moved too fast. It was heartbreaking to watch this gentle soul expecting pain from the very hands trying to heal her. But then the magic happened. It started with a bite of rotisserie chicken, then a tail wag, then finally the pity smile. After months of medicated baths, which she tolerated like a champ, good food and soft pajamas to protect her healing skin, the stone dog crumbled away. Underneath was a goofy, wiggly, velvet hippo who just wants to sit on your feet. Today, Willow is a healthy 65-pound chunk with a coat as white as snow. She has found her forever home where her biggest worry is which spot on the couch has the best sunbeam. From a chained-up skeleton to a spoiled princess. This is why we rescue. This is why we fight for the broken ones. Look at that after photo. Would you have taken a chance on Willow? Tell us below. We bought him a $100 orthopedic memory foam bed, and where does he choose to sleep? The bathtub. Meet Goose, a 3-year-old black and white moo cow pit bull with the strangest quirk we've ever seen. When Goose was first adopted from the county shelter, his new mom couldn't find him. She panicked. She checked the yard, the closets, under the bed, nothing. She finally walked into the bathroom, and there he was, curled up in a tight ball inside the empty porcelain tub, staring up at her with big, apologetic brown eyes. We think we know why. In the noisy, chaotic shelter environment, the concrete walls are cool, and the corners make them feel protected. For Goose, the bathtub feels like a safe bunker. Even though he's been in a loving home for 6 months now, old habits die hard. If there's a thunderstorm, Goose is in the tub. Vacuum cleaner? Tub. Tuesday afternoon nap? You guessed it, the tub. His mom finally gave up trying to move him and just threw a fluffy blanket and his favorite stuffed dinosaur in there with him. Now it's his personal apartment. He's a 70-pound land seal who thinks he's a mermaid. It's a funny habit, but it's also a reminder that these rescue dogs carry little emotional backpacks from their past. We just have to love them through it, even if it means we can't take a shower until they wake up. Does your dog have a weird, safe space or habit? Let's hear the funny stories.